we joined two blessing ceremonies held at the Tainan Jingsi Hall in Taiwan. We meet a group of volunteers in Taiwan who work to prevent mudslides from occurring around the island. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Helen Liao. Thank you for joining us. First up in Taiwan, two blessing ceremonies took place over the weekend at the Tainan Jingsi Hall, attracting some 4,200 local residents. As part of the event, Tang Meiyun's Taiwanese opera troupe was invited to perform a Buddhist tale. Through the traditional performance, members of the public gained a better understanding on how to observe the 7th lunar month.
Incorporating a Buddhist tale into Taiwanese opera, the astounding performance of Bright Eyes rescuing her mother, staged by Tang Meiyun's Taiwanese opera troupe, hopes to ignite compassion and kindness within the audience's heart.
Our desire for good food is satisfied at the expense of animals' lives. We were able to convey this message through our performance today.
As audience members watched the performance, they also had the opportunity to reflect within and to take to heart the underlying meaning of the Buddhist scripture.
This story tells us the consequences of cause and effect, so we shouldn't commit evils.
It brings out the compassion in people.
I hope everyone is able to take these positive influences back home and continue to practice recycling.
City volunteers also showed a clip of Master Zheng Yan's teachings, where the message of the non-killing of animals when observing the Pudu festival was emphasized. Among the participants who attended the event, some parents brought their children to give them access to a different perspective.
My kids eat a lot of McDonald's and KFC, and it's not healthy to consume so much meat. So I brought my kids today hoping they can gain a different perspective.
Vegetarianism is better for our health.
The 7th lunar month not only is a month of auspiciousness and filial piety, it is also a time to nurture compassion within and refrain from eating meat, which is ultimately the true meaning of Pudu.
Moving to Kaohsiung, where another two blessing ceremonies also took place this weekend, with each event enjoying a huge turnout. The performance of the Buddhist tale, Bright Eyes rescuing her mother, helped audience members learn about cause and an effect, and also that a pure heart and mind brings plentiful blessings.
The consequence of killing for the sake of one's desire is eternal hell. The Buddhist tale of Bright Eyes rescuing her mother by Tang Meiyun's Taiwanese opera troupe was well received by audience members. Even Kaohsiung City Mayor Chen Ju said she was thoroughly moved.
This play was very moving. My mother recently passed away and she was 90 years old.
The play incorporated concepts of filial piety and worked to change the public's perception of the 7th lunar month as Ghost Month.
This is a month of auspiciousness and we shouldn't kill.
With sincerity and reverence, volunteers made offerings of light to the Buddha and Bodhisattvas. To purify their thoughts prior to the ceremony, volunteers made a pledge to consume a vegetarian diet for 108 days.
They had to go meatless for more than 108 days. Some felt this was very meaningful and said they will continue to eat vegetarian.
The performance of the cast, coupled with the animated backdrops and lighting, are vivid portrayals of the suffering in hell. Dharma masters present at the event say this is not a mere performance, but actually expounds the truth of Buddhist texts.
This helps us understand how to better use our love and compassion to care for our world and all sentient beings.
At the conclusion of the blessing ceremony, participants all promised to take on a vegetarian diet to accumulate blessings and merits during the 7th lunar month.
At the 7th Lunar Month blessing ceremony held at the Kaohsiung Jingsi Hall, a group of entrepreneurs took time off their busy schedules to join a sign language musical. The volunteers hope their performance can inspire more residents to observe the 7th Lunar Month in the correct manner and go meatless. This is the scene at the blessing ceremony held at the Kaohsiung Jingsi Hall in Taiwan. On stage, a group of entrepreneurs is portraying the wrongdoing of killing animals to satisfy our cravings. To inspire members of the public to go vegetarian, these volunteers all took time out of their busy schedules to practice.
他说衣服干的又湿，湿的又干，干的又湿，就是这样重复这样。
有的事就是这个样子啊，我是从来没有干过。
Despite the hard work, these entrepreneurs are all smiles. With encouragement from his wife, milk company owner Yang Shunhe decided to join the sign language musical.
应该说我的心。
I hope everyone can go meatless. This is my biggest wish after joining the sign language musical.
内心很虔诚的一种祈祷。
After becoming on-stage volunteers, many couples decided to become vegetarian.
我觉得这是一个很
We always had the thought of going meatless, but we weren't determined yet. Now I have been learning how to cook vegetarian dishes and have been going meatless for days.
然后这几天我们大家全部都吃素。
Walking the Tzu Chi path hand in hand, these volunteer couples hope their performance can inspire the general public to observe the 7th lunar month in the correct manner and adopt a vegetarian diet, thus cleansing their hearts and minds. To inspire members of the public to go vegetarian and fulfill their filial duties, 2 sutra adaptations were held last Saturday and Sunday by the young volunteers of Tzu Chi Jingsi Books and Cafe. Many parents in the audience were moved by their children's 2-hour performance, and it showed from the volume of applause. Let's take a look.
Taipei City, Taiwan, 250 young volunteers from Jingsi Books and Cafe are putting on a performance of sutra adaptations to show their gratitude to their parents. In the audience, the parents sing along to the lyrics, while the children on stage sign beautifully to the words. Moved by their children's dedication, some parents document the whole event.
我有录起来，
那时候心情怎么样？
很感恩，很欢喜，
The young volunteers put on another performance the next day as they continue to give it their all. Even at an age of 3 or 4, these young ones know fulfilling filial duties cannot wait.
你凭什么？
教育部门的，还有腾讯大店，
还有开经济。
开经济。
因为他跟哥哥平常都也。
His brother and he are very sweet. Even though as boys they are naturally rambunctious, they are still very well-mannered.
From filial piety to the Sutra of innumerable meanings, the concepts conveyed in the musical have been actualized in many of the performers' lives.
He knows about understanding and tolerance. He also knows about how to help us out by taking care of his sister. He's very thoughtful.
These young volunteers kept a vegetarian diet for 108 meals, which helped them take the scriptures to heart. By participating in sutra performances, the children not only show their gratitude to their parents, but also end the summer on a great note.
As part of the sutra adaptation put on by the young volunteers at the Jingsi Books and Cafe, each youngster also donated to their bamboo coin banks, which they have been collecting for the past 2 months. Over the weekend, the 250 volunteers returned their filled bamboo coin banks to Tzu Chi. Among them is a 12-year-old volunteer who has been donating to her coin bank since she was 3 years old.
Children young and old carried their filled bamboo coin banks to donate. Through participating in the Sutra Adaptations performance, these young volunteers from the Jingsi Books and Cafe began saving their coins 2 months ago. 12-year-old Li Ting's compassionate heart started 9 years ago when the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami happened.
Every day I do a good deed, my mother will give me $20 to donate to the bamboo coin bank.
When she was younger, the act was simply to inspire her to be more compassionate. I also hope she would be able to follow Master Zheng Yan's footsteps and extend her love on an international level.
One by one, each child lines up their coin banks neatly to form a big heart. The young volunteers also proudly proclaim their desire to help those in need.
I want to donate these filled coin banks to those in need because we're very fortunate and there are others out there that need our assistance.
In Taiwan, we're safe and sound, but in Syria, they are in conflict with each other. I hope they can live in peace and remain safe like we are. In Taiwan, there are 1,664 rivers and creeks prone to mudslides. Prior to every torrential rain, a disaster prevention system is activated to calculate the amount of rainfall in each area and evacuate residents if necessary. Besides the rainfall station set up by the Weather Bureau, there is a group of volunteers who work to prevent mudslides from occurring around the island. This group is not only responsible for measuring the rainfall in their area and reporting any updates, but are also in charge of inspecting dangerous areas and assisting in evacuations. Their hard work is, however, all done behind the scenes and without applause.
This is the scene when Typhoon Sulik hit Taiwan in July, causing severe mudslide in Senmu village of Xingyi Township in Nantou County. Luckily, residents had already evacuated, thus no one was injured. The amount of rainfall determines whether a mudslide will occur or not, and come every rain or typhoon, the Mudslide Disaster Response Center in Zhongxing New Village, Nantou, sets up a team to monitor the rainfall in various rivers and creeks throughout the nation.
Did he say when he will get the presentation ready? 2 o'clock? All right then. It will be great if you could follow up on this. Speaking of mudslides, there are 1,664 locations throughout various townships and villages that are prone to mudslides, and because they are widely distributed, we need local residents' help.
Hence, in 2005, a mudslide prevention team was established. 57-year-old retired teacher Tu Li Mei is one of the mudslide prevention staff in Taichung's Heping district. Whenever an alert is issued for a typhoon, Tu sets up a rainfall calculation container. For every 50 milliliters of rainfall accumulated, Tu reports to the center using text messages, and such information from around the island is then used to issue a mudslide alert when necessary.
The Weather Bureau obviously doesn't have enough rainfall stations, particularly on hillsides. To make up for that shortage, we train our prevention staff to assist us in observing the rain in their areas.
The 1,387 mudslide prevention staff in Taiwan work without pay and are made up of mostly community residents. Besides the basic insurance coverage by the government, they also receive a work uniform, as well as a backpack with a blanket, rope, first aid kit, water and dry food. When a disaster strikes, these volunteers risk their lives for the safety of others.
Since this is my hometown and I was quite interested, I thought I would attend the training. Eventually, I decided to sign up to the job. The flooding gets severe, and if the rain continues, then we need to evacuate everyone.
Mudslide prevention staff are also responsible for keeping residents alert of typhoon conditions. Seeing how a house was destroyed by a previous mudslide, Tu Li Mei says she hopes to prevent such tragic incidents from happening again.
We love our community, and if we can contribute a little to our neighborhood, then I don't feel like it is tough work at all. In Malaysia, following the devastation left behind by Typhoon Ryan in September of 1995, Tzu Chi volunteer station in Penang and Kedah came together to hold the first ever large-scale Tzu Chi relief distribution in the country. Since then, whether it is a disaster born of fire, wind, water, or earth, Tzu Chi has been there to help the citizens of Malaysia through the devastation and sadness as they fulfill their vow of bringing great love to all corners of society.
Although difficult to predict the arrival of natural disasters or man-made accidents, despite this, comfort can always be given. In 2010, massive rains lashed the cities of Kedah and Perlis in northern Malaysia, leaving flooding in their wake. As residents fled the disaster zone, Tzu Chi was on hand to help.
Our relatives were unable to come and help us. Then I thought of Tzu Chi, as there was no one else that could save us. We owe a big thanks to Tzu Chi. Without them, things would have been a lot worse.
Whether it was Tzu Chi's cleanup crew or trucks filled with supplies, Tzu Chi's commitment and love to the region was apparent for all to see. Huang Qingyuan's house was inundated in the floods of 2005. Although receiving consolation cash from Tzu Chi, he couldn't bring himself to spend it.
I put in my drawer for safekeeping and haven't used it in these 5 years. It is something that means a lot to me, and thus I want to keep by my side.
In 2010, Huang once again became a flood victim and received consolation cash from Tzu Chi. Only this time, he decided the time had come to use it.
There are so many flood victims, so I wanted them to have the money. I still have money I can use, and this way I can help Tzu Chi or families with any problems they may encounter.
In 1995, the southern provinces of Malaysia were hit with a heat wave that brought massive rains in its wake. Then, in September of that same year, Super Typhoon Ryan brought flooding to the northwest part of the country. Encountering devastation on such a massive scale, Tzu Chi volunteers mobilized to hold the first ever large-scale disaster relief in the country, the first of many to come. In 2012, at an aid distribution for victims of a fire, one recipient had this to say about Tzu Chi's aid.
I'm very moved and very happy to have met an organization that cares so much, and one that makes no distinction between race or religion. We are so thankful.
Tzu Chi has never made a distinction between race, color, or creed in the course of its aid distributions. For the volunteers, this is their affirmation of the Tzu Chi ideal that great love can and does transcend all boundaries.
Moving back to Taiwan, we meet Kaohsiung Tzu Chi volunteer Huang Yuzhen. 30 years ago, Huang's husband repented for killing animals as a child and decided to go meatless. However, his decision did not inspire Huang to follow suit. It wasn't until she became an onstage volunteer for the musical adaptation of the Water Repentance Sutra that she decided to repent for her past behavior and vowed to go vegetarian.
When I was little, my mother used to kill chickens in front of me as she prepared the offerings. I had to help her and burn joss paper. I still remember how the area was covered in dark smoke.
This is 68-year-old Huang Yuzhen, who says praying, offering food, and burning joss paper during the 7th lunar month were traditions passed on to her from the older generation.
I told her not to offer meat dishes. She wouldn't listen to me. Sometimes she would secretly use meat offerings and I would get mad.
Other than encouraging Huang Yuzhen not to use meat dishes as offerings, Huang's husband also encouraged her to go meatless. However, she remained unconvinced.
She didn't want to go meatless and told me it was because our children were still young. That was her excuse.
30 years ago, after repenting for killing animals as a child, Huang's husband decided to go meatless.
I respected his decision to go vegetarian. It didn't bother us. He ate vegetarian food and we still ate whatever we liked to eat.
Back then, Huang Yuzhen insisted on cooking meat because she was worried that her children would not receive enough nutrient if they went meatless. Therefore, regardless of the hard work Huang's husband put in, his family did not adopt a vegetarian diet.
I have been a vegetarian for 30 years, and I still couldn't inspire her to go meatless. In the end, it was my son and daughter-in-law not inspire her to become a vegetarian.
Last year, after joining the Water Repentance Sutra performance, and with the encouragement from her daughter-in-law, Huang Yuzhen finally decided to go meatless.
To become an onstage volunteer, all of us had to go vegetarian for 108 days. After a while, I decided to adopt a vegetarian diet.
With the encouragement from her daughter-in-law, Huang Yuzhen finally decided to go vegetarian. The words of wisdom from Master Zhen Yan have also inspired Huang to observe the 7th lunar month in the correct manner. Now the family can finally enjoy healthy vegetarian dishes together. In the United States, Tzu Chi volunteers and TIMA medical staff held a free clinic at Lytle Creek Elementary School in San Bernardino of Southern California, which saw nearly 300 residents taking part to receive medical services. The event, which included a new service to allow those in need of prescription glasses receive them on site, came as a surprise for many.
Working together to ready the medical equipment, Tzu Chi volunteers and TIMA members are organizing a free clinic to be held at Lytle Creek Elementary School in San Bernardino, California. Besides the preparation work, volunteers and medical staff go through their schedules to ensure the smooth running of the event. Laptops are also set up to speed up the pace. The nearly 300 residents participating in the free clinic get to enjoy an added service of receiving prescription glasses on site.
Our ophthalmology department provides a few services, including prescribing glasses. This is a new service which we have included.
Dale Marston, the superintendent of the San Bernardino Unified School District, pays a visit and discusses the possible partnership in the future with Tzu Chi volunteers.
Seeing the immediacy of the results, they could walk away with their dental needs met, even denture needs, and walk away with eyeglasses in just a couple hours. And so this is a real benefit to this community. It's an obviously very well organized event.
Up and down, up and down, up and down. The medical services provided by Tzu Chi not only safeguard the health of local residents, but also inspire many to join the volunteers' ranks.
We go back to Taiwan at the end of the show to inspire members of the public to go meatless. Penghu Tzu Chi volunteers offer vegetarian sushi at a local cultural music festival. The volunteers also thoughtfully reminded passers-by to sort their garbage as a way to safeguard our Mother Earth. We will leave you with these images. Thank you for watching DaAi Headlines. Goodbye.